Media literacy is dead, so let's talk about the fate of Ophelia. Another one that I see people interpreting in a weird way and making some kind of weird claims about Taylor Swift. She doesn't know Shakespeare, she doesn't understand Ophelia. And let's remember, first of all, we're talking about Shakespeare here, so that's like 400 plus years of people debating the nature of Ophelia, her relationship to Hamlet, her relationship to all the men, Polonius and Laertes, and everybody in that play. Because gender roles have changed, even the nature of understanding the madness in this case between a man and a woman, were received differently. Men went crazy in different ways than women, and that's part of Ophelia's narrative. But all that to say, I still don't think Taylor is interpreting this wrong, because I think a lot of people have said, like, oh, she describes Ophelia like a princess that needs to be saved, and that's not Ophelia's character. And while that's true, first of all, the princess thing, like, her dad is Lord Counselor, Chief Counsel to the King of Denmark. The idea that she's like sitting in a palace some days, especially when her father at one point is like, forbidding her to marry and things like that. I don't think that's too much of a stretch. To put that on Ophelia, even though, like, we don't see her in that Rapunzel role. But let's just talk about it. The fate of Ophelia is every man in her life doesn't listen to her, disregards her. I mean, Hamlet, you can say gaslit her. He's trying to convince her that he's crazy, and that's making her crazy. Like, every man in her life takes advantage of her, or dismisses her to the point where it drives her mad. And she, of course, takes her own life. Now, some people, of course, think of that taking of her own life as her first act of agency. But one way or another, like, she ends up tragic. She's a tragic figure. This is Shakespeare. It's a tragedy. So when Taylor is saying, "You saved my heart from the fate of Ophelia," if the song is, of course, referring to Travis, as many speculate, the idea is that Taylor has been surrounded by men who disregard her and gaslit her and try to tell her what to do all the time. They control her to the point where it was driving her crazy. It was driving her mad, and she would have ended up a tragic figure. We've come out of this idea of, I've heard some people saying, she was better off with Joe because she was deep and intellectual. No, she was going crazy. She didn't want to be here anymore. Like, I don't know if it got that dark, but she has made it sound that dark through things like the Tortured Poets Department. That, like, yeah, no, like, maybe all of this is worthless and I don't want to be here anymore. The relationship with Travis, or whatever new self-discovery she has found, it could be her own agency. That could be part of the story, that she found her own agency, and that saved her from the fate of Ophelia. Ophelia was driven crazy and took her own life. Taylor found a man that would respect her and listen to her, or found within herself the ability to not care. And that has saved her from the fate of Ophelia.